Alright, what is up guys? VV back with another video. And so today gonna be posting the video of my sealed limited format sealed draft deck list that I was running. Now, this isn't something you can really determine how it's going to turn out, right? Because it is random. But we did really well. And I'm going to talk to y'all about a little bit of secret tech that I used, a leader that I used that I should have mentioned in my two previous videos on draft, on sealed, because I don't think anyone saw this leader coming, and they had a lot of synergy with everything going on in OP-04. So let's go ahead and hop into it real quick. I did win. I went 4-0. And I'm just kind of showing off the pre-released card here. And I've pre-recorded this video. We'll pause it as we need to, but I'm going to try and get through it pretty quickly. This is just the pre-release winner card. I had some pretty good pulls we're going to talk about, but so did my opponents. I'll try and run through you know, the lists as they come up, or talk about it at the end maybe. So this is the leader. Excuse me. This is the leader I was running. That's right, a 4-life leader. Whoops. Yeah, I just moved my Dawn real quick. I was trying to see where to take it off. But anyway, so excuse me, guys, my throat's all messed up. Let me see if I can just pause it right here. There we go. So I was running Charlotte Linlin, black yellow. This is black yellow Charlotte Linlin, 4-life, 5,000 power, because I started realizing. Well, number one, I just love this leader. I'm not gonna lie. I love the fact you can gain life, and gaining life in sealed is actually a very, very big deal. Excuse me, guys. I'm sorry. My allergies are really bad this morning. But gaining life in sealed is a very big deal. So in other words, there were situations where if they could only get me to 1 life, well, that's not going to help you, because I'm going to gain the life back. You know, and have potential, you know, more potential interactions for my life through things like triggers. And that's the next thing I was going to mention, is there's actually quite a bit of triggers in this format. So we'll talk a little bit about that as the list goes on. So that was my leader. Yes, I think I still could have won with like a Eustace Kid. Yes, I think I still could have won with like a Zorro. But I think that secret tech there actually might have time warped me a few games. So first up, just a little you know, 1 cost 3k, 1000 counter. This is just a vanilla card, good early drops. So this is my I only got one drop, 1 cost. Yeah, I showed each card. Look at that trigger. Dawn, play this card, right? Or Dawn -1, play this card. I did not get that card at all, but I did get this guy, Mr. 3 Galdino. I did not get Mr. 2 even one time last night, I don't think, or when I did, I countered out. But Mr. 3 Galdino was nice. Oh, look, what's this? Another trigger. You may trash 1 card from your hand to play this card. So that was nice. And you'll notice, I think every one of my cards have counters unless they're, you know, really crazy cards. This is the pre-release card. I didn't know anything about this. It just, they said, here you go, you can use this in your decks. And we were like, oh, okay, cool. 3 costs 4k. You may trash 1 card from your hand, play this card. So again, we're getting lots of triggers. I think I got like 3 or 4 triggers over the course of the night. You know, which for a sealed, that's actually a pretty big deal. So that was like my 3 cost package. Now going into my 4 cost stuff, Usopp. He was not crazy. He was not as good as I thought, but that's probably because they had to ignore him, kind of thing, right? Jola, I only got her off 1 time, I think, and it didn't do anything for me. I didn't get her actual effect off. All right, this card, we got to pause it. All right, let me go down some. End of your turn. Yeah, set him as active. Hang on, let me hit play. And let me pause it when he's like right on the screen. Daddy Masterson here, that's his name, Daddy Masterson, was absolutely, this card was cracked, okay? If they don't have removal, right? If they don't have removal, you are getting 2 swings every single turn, or 3 if you get more than, you know, however many Daddy Mastersons you get. But this card was cracked. This card was absolutely cracked. It's one of the few cards that I could justify running the deck without a counter. So, okay. And I think it's uncommon. No, it does say common, but I only drew 1 of them. If I had more, they would have been in the deck. That's almost a guarantee. So now I'm going to get into my 5 cost cards. I'm like, okay, let me move this. There were a lot of 5 cost and 6 cost vanilla beaters, so I'm just going to lay them all down for you. Every one of these is the same. They're 5 costs, 7,000 power, 1,000 counter, beaters. That's it. I think I got 4 or 5 of them. I can't remember. So there's Law. Here's Banana Gator. You just play these on curve in a draft, guys. It might feel uncomfortable. So here's my 6 cost cards here. 6 cost 8Ks. I think I got 4 or 5 of these. You just play them in a draft. You just drop them. It might seem uncomfortable, but you do what you got to do. You just do what you got to do. And then I think I have a Hadrodin coming up here. Yeah. This card was nice as well. So keep in mind that give up to one of your opponent's characters -4 cost during this turn. Activate main, all you have to do is rest your leader. So yes, you might lose your attack for the turn, but this can synergize with other effects later. We'll talk about. And in fact, the guy that I played in the first place game, when we were both 3-0, whoever wins this wins. That person was running Hadrodin plus ulti, and I didn't draw any ultis. But basically, if he established those 2 bodies, he just rests his leader, attacks with ulti with Dawn attached, and boom, whatever that person plays, basically for the rest of the game is getting bounced. You know what I mean? Realistically. This card was an absolute beater too. 6 cost 7K with a 1K counter. Yeah, he's 1,000 power under, you know, your average 6 cost of vanilla, and then he also has that effect. He was an auto include. He is uncommon, it looks like. Okay, King, I actually drew one. I was very happy to draw this, but I think I only played it one time. I think I only played this in the first or second game, and then after that, I just never got the chance to play him. So this is my card draw package. You know, Xin Zhao, we know what this does. When this character battles and KOs your opponent's character, draw 2 and trash 2, Dawn ×1, and he's just a nice 5 cost 6K 1K counter. He's kind of like Hadrodin, but for 5 cost. I gotta pause, sorry. Xin Zhao never came up for me, not even one time, but I didn't really draw him where I could just play him right on curve, or appropriately play him right on curve, right? Jack here did not come up one time. He was just a counter. But he has a draw card potential. Another trigger. Play this card. Okay, let me, yeah. That card was solid. I got it in 2 or 3 games. Two or 3 of the 4 games. This guy was a draw card I did not use. I used him as a 1K counter. But it was good having the options to draw a card if I needed it. And then this trigger. Play this card. Then KO up to one of your opponent's characters to cost 2 or less. It all just kind of came together, guys, with all this trigger stuff. So it's like the more I can put on the top of my life, the better. And it also inadvertently counters the pounds in the, you know, pound the blocker, 3 cost blocker. This inadvertently countered those cards. So yeah, this card was nice though. I did play this I think twice because this is just what is it? Pay 2, draw 1 card, or it's a counter in hand or a trigger in life. Caramel, however you say it, Caramel was excellent. She's not an attacker, but she does her job. And that's 6 that's 6 draw card effects there. And like I said, the 2 trigger ones were actually the best ones, and not even so much because of the trigger. Okay, then I just had some nice... I didn't draw many blockers, but I did draw some good ones. I drew Diamante. This was an excellent blocker that I did not get to play even one time. I did not even draw him one time over the course of the entire night. All 4 games... Never played it. So this card was insane. Not even so much for the Dawn -1. He was a 3 cost 3K blocker that I needed to put on the board and ended up winning me the final game because the person I played in the final game, he tapped down my leader and my 2 other characters on the board, but I still had this guy untapped or you know, he was active. He just didn't have it, and I just put 10 Dawn on him, swung 13 when he had 3 cards in hand and won the game. But this card, he was one of my only blockers, and I think I saw him in all but 1 game last night. My pre-release was last night, by the way, guys. Sorry if I'm saying it like this, and y'all don't know what I'm saying. Never used that on your opponent's attack Dawn -1 effect. Never used it, not once. And then Idio, I think I got him down. He got bounced in my final game, but he was still a good to have in the deck. Extra blockers. Okay, so nothing crazy drawn so far, but I did draw some heat coming up here. I think I'm gonna lay it down. I'm gonna put these. So here's 2K counters. So these are just straight 2K counters. That's all they were. I think I'm about to adjust it in the camera. Hang on one second. I was trying to move. Yeah, there we go. Okay, so Miss 13, Miss Friday. I don't know what these 2 red cards are called. Bartolomeo. So that was technically another blocker. Sasaki, and then 2 more 2K counters over here. One of them has a trigger, so again, another trigger. And then a 2K counter up here, the 1 cost blue, East Blue chick. I can't remember her name. But these were just 2K counters. I don't think I played even one of these. Not even the well, I only drew the Bartolomeo one game, but I don't think I played even one of these cards. They were just simply 2K counters. And I was like, oh, okay, cool, look at all these that I got. It helped make up for the fact that I had very few blockers. Because including the Bartolomeo here and the 3 we have up above us up here on the screen, I only drew 4 blockers. Now, one blocker I want to talk about, Miss Merry Christmas, was winning people games. I didn't have it in my deck because I just didn't draw it. But, you know, I didn't draw it in the draft. I'm saying I would have definitely put it in the deck because it's a 4-cost 4K blocker, and you know that alone is good. And then it also has the trigger. That's just straight value. Bartolomeo as well, 3-cost 3K blocker or 2K counter. Excuse me. We'll take it every single time. We'll take it every single time. But I never got it, and I think when I did get it, I used it as a 2K counter to like win on next turn or something. Again, I don't remember playing it. Okay. So I move this up here. I had to adjust the camera. It's like the camera's like in my lap to do it like this. I'm sorry, guys. I just didn't have good lighting in my house. I think I recorded this video like 1 or 2 in the morning. Okay, so now some event counters. So I got Barrier. Did not use this. Did not even see this one time. There were a lot of cards I just didn't draw, which was weird, you know. But hey, I'll tell you what. The cards I did draw were very nice. No complaints. But same thing with Dragon Twister, Demolition Breath. Never got it. Not once. Never even drew it, I'm saying. I would have used it, but never drew it even one time. And then next one is the Diable Jambe Jushot, or Jushot, however you say that. This one I kept in hand in the final game, and I think it could have won me the game if I needed to, but it never got to that point. But I felt pretty safe with it in my hand. Okay. And now for the final. These are my 3 probably MVPs of the night right here. 7 calls, 8,000 power, Mr. 5 Gem, I think is his name. Like G-E-M. On your opponent's attack, once per turn, Dawn -2, rest this character. You do have to rest the character. KO up to one of your opponent's characters with a cost of 4 or less. That takes care of your opponent's Daddy Mastersons. That takes care of your opponent's Pounds. That takes care of your opponent. Any of your opponent's blockers just become endangered if this card is like active on the field. Now, yeah, it will set you back a turn with Dawn -2, but if you're late enough in the game where you're at 10 Dawn, well, it's no longer even an effect. You know what I mean? Because you're just getting it back. He's a 7 cost, 8,000 power body with that effect to just clean up the little, the chaff or whatever you want to call it on the board. This card was outstanding, and I would argue this card probably won me 2 of the 4 games. Not by itself, but like really kept me in the driver's seat. And I didn't draw much removal. I didn't draw any red rocks. I think that's a rare anyway. But I didn't draw any red rocks. So a card like this was a sight for sore eyes, especially with it being a rare. Okay. So there's his effect. I just zoom in on it so y'all can see it. Again, this card and Daddy Masterson basically were my removal, if that makes sense. And then the next card, Yamato. This was one of the big rares that I got. 9 cost, 9,000 power. Sorry, she is an SR. People get mad at me about the rarities. But anyway, this is an on-play KO up to one of your opponent's characters with a cost equal to or less than the total of your and your opponent's life cards. Then, if you have 1 or less life cards, add up to 1 card from the top of your deck to the top of your life cards. So, I can't explain to y'all how strong this was with my black-yellow Charlotte Linlin. Like, let me explain it like this. If I hadn't got this card, I probably wouldn't have run Linlin unless I had even more triggers or more interactions like that. But this card really made me determine, yeah, I already wanted to run Linlin. But when I got this card, it's like, okay, now I have an alternative to gain life and produce a body and KO in 1 turn. And I'm starting off at 4 life, so I'm going to be closer to this condition at all times. Yeah, it just became like, yeah, I need to run Charlotte Linlin, the leader. So, awesome card. This, I would argue this won me the first 2 games, like, almost single-handedly. Almost. There were still a lot of other things that had to happen. Y'all know how games go. But I aggressively went down to 1 life. My opponent was at 3 life. And I dropped this card down and KO'd their Daddy Masterson, who was bullying me the entire game. Right? Because it KOs up to one of your opponent's characters with a cost equal to or less than the total of your and your opponent's life cards. So I had 1, they had 3. I KO his 4 costs, I gain a life, establish a 9k body. The whole game shifted from there. The whole game. And having a card like this and having a leader like Big Mom allows you to more aggressively take life. Like, you know, don't be stupid with it, obviously, right? You don't want to go crazy with it. But it allows you to be much more aggressive with it. And if they cannot overcommit, if they cannot take you out in one turn, well, now they always have to get two attacks across, like through your 2k counters, through your barriers, through your event counters, through your blockers, through whatever, through that last guy. We just got Mr. 5. And then I had one more bomb that I got this draft, and this was the real this card sealed the deal. Let me zoom in on it right there. So this card, Kaido, sealed the deal for me. Only got him out in game 4. Only. That was it. Did not play him game 1. Didn't get him game 1 or 2. Got him in game 3, but the game was a little too fast. I could not place him down without, establishing my board the way I had to do it to survive the next turn. But game 4, this card won me the game. I bounced an 8-cost Luffy and a 3-cost ulti. Like, my opponent had the opponent I played in for first place, he had 10-cost Dofi, he had Red Rock, he had the combo I was telling you about with Hajradin and ulti. His name's Mark, very, very good player in our locals. Judge, he's also a judge. Just very competent, very good player, experienced. He's been playing card games for years and years and years, like me. Played the deck well, he was making me sweat over here, And then finally, like I said, there was a turn where he had one of his characters was tapped down, right? Was rested. I was able to deal with that with what was on board because I was only at 2 life. And he thought he was safe having a 8-cost Luffy and a 3-cost ulti. And hey, in a normal sealed game, without this leader, without me having this exact card, he probably wins that game 9 times out of 10 or always, right? Like 99% of the time. But when I was able to KO the rested card with what I had on board, and I was able to commit 10 Dawn to playing Kaido, me and him both knew, I think, right then that, like, okay, the game has officially shifted momentum into my favor. You know what I mean? It was no longer a game of, I would say he was winning up to that point. Like, I would say he had dominant board position, and then this card came down and changed everything. Now, yes, you can't plan building around this card in your deck, right? Like, you either randomly pull it or you don't. These 3 cards that I got here, my rares and super rares, they were extremely good to me. Like, these were extremely, extremely good. I felt very blessed, right? There they are in all their glory, right? This leader and these cards here and all the triggers and 2k counters comboing together, that was the result. Played well too. I do think I was playing very well. And for card players who don't, a lot of y'all are, a lot of people that watch my channel are probably card players for years on years, and you have tournament experience. You know what it's like. Some nights you pull hot, some nights you pull dead. Last night I pulled pretty hot. It's so nice when you're like, cool, I'm drawing really good cards or exactly the cards I need, And I was concerned at first because I didn't see Kaido until the 3rd game, and I was like, oh no, is it going to be one of those nights where I don't draw what I need? Like, I have the answers in my deck, but am I not going to draw the cards I need? That became the question in my mind. But no, we got there. We got there in the end. And I have to say, in this format, we'll see about in the future. But in OP-04, I think Charlotte Linlin is a very, very solid leader. And like I said, I was able to go 4-0 with it. Yes, I did get some pretty decent pulls. But, I mean, I think other than the Yamato and the Kaido, I was feeling like my opponents had pretty much just better cards than me, like, at all times. Now the Daddy Masterson, of course, that was big. But I don't know. You guys get what I'm saying. These cards were definitely monsters. They were absolutely a menace. And just to kind of go through that, let me see if I can let me hit play and go through all these. Go through it. Not all. Don't worry. Specific cards I want to talk about. Mr. 3 Galdino was nice against Zoro because I did return 1 Dawn card to push a card under the 5k threshold, so that saved me a card. Mr. 3 Galdino is very nice. And let me see, was this guy, he was like the same, right? Dawn -1. No, never mind. This guy I thought was better, or this guy I thought going into the tournament he was going to be better than Mr. 3 Galdino. Not so much. That trigger is nice, and it gives you a 3-cost 4K, 1K counter body, but Mr. 3 Galdino was actually so strong because it makes your Zoro opponents, it forces them to push their guys to 6K, or you can just return one Dawn and counter one of their attacks. That might not sound like much to the standard players out here, like who don't play Sealed, but that is a huge deal in Sealed. And he's a 3-cost 4K body with a 1K counter. Like, yeah, that card was just nice. This card was not bad. Charlotte Bavarios, or I don't know, Bavarois? I don't know how to say that name. It sounds kind of French, but I didn't get to play this card at all. He was a 1K counter in hand. Charlotte Moscato was nice. I did get him down one or two games. He was very nice. 3-cost 4K, 1K counter with that trigger. Usopp was not bad. Joel, I don't know. Daddy Masterson was big. This card was very nice. Do not sleep on this card, and make sure when you're building your deck, number one, try to have this card in your deck, and number two, make sure you have an answer if you don't have the card in your deck. Make sure you have at least one way to answer this card in your deck. Okay, then we just get to the beaters. I would recommend about 8 beaters if you can get your hands on them. Like, I should say mid-range, right? You should have about 8 5-cost and 6-cost cards, 8 3-cost and 4-cost cards, 8 of your 2K counters if you can get them, and then whatever you can do from there, because that's like 24 cards, right? But I did stick to the stuff I told you guys. Trust me, I didn't hide anything from you. Here's my counters. Just talked about my bruisers are the 5-cost and 6-cost cards, and even some 3 and 4-cost cards. This is the draw card stuff. I showed y'all the other big bruisers. Blockers, I just didn't draw very many of them, unfortunately. I'm just letting the video play now. Sorry, guys. I'm just talking over it. And removal. I did not get almost any removal, guys. Almost no removal. But that is the nature. That is the nature of Sealed. Yeah, this card was excellent as well. Don't play it for the trigger unless you have to KO something, obviously, because then you won't get the draw card effect. The draw one card effect is only on your turn. Okay. What else? Let me fast forward through a little bit. Yeah, I think that's about it. I think you guys get the point. If you got any questions in the comment section below, by all means ask. Let me fast forward this part a little bit. These cards, like I said, just never showed up. Never got Barrier one time in my hand. Never got Dragon Twister Demolition Breath one time in my hand. And never got this next card. Ju-Shot, Diablo Jambe Ju-Shot. I only got like once or twice. But very good card. And when it was in my hand, these cards do give you a sense of safety when they're in your hand, right? Like, it's like, okay, I feel pretty good right now. I feel pretty good about this. So, yeah. And then, of course, the big bruisers that brought it all home. Okay, so that's about it, guys. I hope y'all get good pulls in your drafts. I know you can't, you can't play around getting some of these leaders, right? Like these these bruisers. You have to be lucky, but there were other options that you could get too. You don't have to get these exact two, the Yamato and the Yamato and the Kaido. You could have got 10-cost Doflamingo. You could have, now here's another thing. I wish I didn't even bring the leader, but I think if I had gotten the Crocodile, the purple Crocodile, the 8-cost 9K, I might have considered running a Baroque Works leader. The 5-life, 5,000 power Crocodile leader. But again, it's something you just have to think about and consider. All right, guys, that's about it. Hope y'all enjoyed. If you got any comments or questions, just put them in the comment section below. And until next time, guys, peace.